7 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We have two people that are not present, but they're not coming to the best of our knowledge. So I think we can go ahead. Seth, I think, has an eye issue and we hope he gets better. So meeting is called to order, the Industrial Development Board of Hartsville, Trousdale County. If you would, please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This will be a fairly brief meeting tonight, so everybody could get home. Number 4 on our agenda is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Our last official meeting was November. So we had a kind of a special meeting after that where we met with retail strategies, but these minutes are from the last official meeting that we had in November. I believe it was the 23rd. So does anybody have any corrections or anything to add or subtract from those minutes? Mr. Graves makes a motion to approve. Ms. Bay makes a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Meeting minutes from November 2021 are passed. Treasurer's report, you have a copy of it in front of you. There has not been any activity. We have a beginning and ending balance of $89,511.50. We have paid the retail strategies invoice, so this is a good balance. So we need a vote to accept the financial report. Ms. Petty makes, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ms. Petty, I'm sorry. I still want to call you verbal. Ms. Petty makes a motion. Ms. Bay makes a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It is so. Our main focus tonight is going to be, we're going to re-elect our officers. It's that time of year. So if you have people or someone that you want to nominate for particular positions, be thinking about that for a moment. But before we do that, we made an amendment to the agenda to what you were emailed on Friday. It was a last minute agenda added amendment. Before you, you have our draft of the pilot procedures and policies program that Rochelle McCullough and Alts, Mr. Bob Rochelle and Mr. Elliott Benson, Mayor Chambers, Mr. Jewell, several focus groups, lots of people have worked very hard to streamline this down. I don't expect you to read it. I don't expect you to do anything with it right this moment, but I do need you to closely read it carefully before the next meeting. At our February meeting, we will discuss it. We will discuss any modifications, changes, questions, problems. We're going to solve it all at the next meeting. And then we will have a vote to approve or disapprove this policy and procedure to be put forth to the steering committee. And then through steering, it will go probably to budget and finance, and then probably through budget and finance to the county commission for the full commission body vote. So we have all, well, Mr. Jewell, Mr. Benson, the mayor, and I have discussed this for the last several days, and we think it's ready for you guys to look at. So we're ready for your input. So think about that. That will be the main focus of our next meeting in February. So please make a point, if you can, to be here in February. Now, keep in mind that because of the holiday, our February meeting will not be on a Tuesday. It will be, I believe, on a Thursday, the 24th. So please mark that on your calendar and please make every effort to be here because your input and opinion is very valuable and such an important topic. Also, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mr. Graves.
Can I make a suggestion? This is a very complicated deal, and I understand that. I just wonder if with the fact that it's only 7 pages long, is this maybe an opportunity where we need to have a pre-meeting meeting before the official meeting to resolve any of the questions? Because this could get, that could get very long-winded.
Yeah, and I was actually had meant to mention that and just failed to. It is absolutely, I want you all to feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. Let's don't wait to the meeting. Let's try to work this out throughout the month. So we're going to take the whole next 30 days as a work session. And if we want to get together and discuss it in person, we can absolutely do that. That's no problem at all. Because I want to make sure that everybody is 100% comfortable with it and agrees with it before we go any further. I want this to be completely polished and ready before we let anybody off this board see it. I don't want to waste the time of the valuable time of the county commission and the committees that will look at it. So yes, that's absolutely. And please reach out to me at any time if you have a question, if you need a clarification, if you just don't understand it, or anything, please, let's talk about it and let's make sure that we all are on the same page. Next is officers' elections. I don't know that there's any particular protocol for the order that we go in, so I'd say we're going to start at the bottom and go to the top. Is that correct?
You typically start as the chair, then go vice chair and secretary.
Very good. Okay.
And I guess this case would be secretary and treasurer.
Okay, well, thank you for the correction. Thank you. So I will open the floor for nominations for chair for the next calendar year going forward. Would anybody like to make a nomination? Mr. Thurman.
I move we elect Brian King as chair.
I would be honored to serve again if so elected, so I will accept that nomination. Mr. Thurman nominates myself, Brian King, to remain as chair. Do we have another nomination? Is anybody? Here's Mr. Craig. Come on in here, sir. Just in time. We are, you limping. We are just now starting to elect officers. We're starting with chair. Mr. Thurman nominated me to remain as chair. If you have a nomination or a suggestion, please speak up. Are there any other nominations? Is anybody? Hearing none. All in favor of Brian King remaining as chair for the next year, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It so carries. I will remain as chair. Thank you. I am honored. And I hope you guys are happy with my service. Next would be, we need a vice chair. So right now, Mr. Graves is vice chair. Assuming that he would not have any objections to serving again as vice chair, would anybody like to make any nominations? Somebody?
I nominate.
Mr. Thurman nominates Mr. Graves to hold that seat for another year. Would anybody like to make another nomination? Mr. Graves?
Is there anybody that would like to do it? I'd be happy to let anyone else do it. You're all very talented and qualified, so speak up.
So are you.
Thank you very much.
All right, hearing no other nominations, all in favor of Mr. Graves retaining the seat of vice chair for the next year, aye. Say aye. All, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. All, and you elected me chair. All opposed, say nay. It does carry. Mr. Graves retains the position of vice chair for the next year. We split last year the secretary and the treasurer's position, and my personal opinion, that seems to be working pretty well. So let's start with secretary. Right now, Miss Petty is our secretary, and she has done a fabulous job. Would anybody like to nominate for secretary? Mrs. Bay nominates Miss Petty to hold her seat. Miss Petty, would you consider holding your position again? And congratulations on your reappointment at the commission meeting last night. Any other nominations? Anybody just dying to do that? But she's doing a fabulous job. Anybody will fight about it? Hearing no other nominations, all in favor for Miss Petty, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It so carries. Thank you, Miss Petty. Our next position is treasurer. Mr. Thurman holds that, Mr. Robert Thurman holds that position and has done so wonderfully. Do we have any nominations for treasurer? Mr. Graves?
I nominate Robert Thurman hold his position.
Mr. Thurman has a nomination. Do we have any other nominations? Any others? Mr. Thurman, would you hold it again for a year? Thank you, sir. All in favor of Mr. Thurman retaining his position as treasurer, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It so carries. So the board stays the same as it was. Thank you all for your service, and thank you all so much for the support and help you give me, because I need quite a lot. That being said, we're moving into item number 8, other business. I'm going to put this over to Mayor Chambers. He might have some interesting things he would like to share with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been in contact with a retail prospect, and I've been including Mr. King and Retail Strategies in on that. Last Friday and yesterday was spent gathering information, trying to relay that to this prospect. I can't get into who it is or what they do right now. We're trying to find them a place to locate. They had contacted us a few months ago and they're following up again. They are very interested in being here. It's just right now trying to find a suitable location for them as being the holdup. But we are working through that, trying to see what's available, get that information to them. And I've been passing it on the updates to Retail Strategies as far as what those contacts are and pass along that information. So right now I can't get into any more detail than that, but as soon as we can let you know more, that we'll be happy to do so. I do hope that we can get this prospect, because I think that'll just lead to more locating here. We certainly starting to get more attention since the census numbers came out and people are seeing the growth. I actually got a call today and did an interview with the Tennessean about growth from what they call the donut counties surrounding Davidson and those that touch Davidson, and they were asking me about growth in a lot of different areas. So I think it really surprised them, some of the things I told them. I don't think they expected to hear that from tiny Trousdale County, but again, we're starting to see a lot of interest, and hopefully certainly by the end of the year, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised with some of the results.
Very good. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your efforts. Mayor Chambers has been very diligent at chasing some of these leads, and I've seen some of these emails. We've had several pieces of property change hands in the downtown area, and there are plans to revitalize those buildings, 2 or 3 if I can think of. There's maybe 4, but we're seeing a lot of activity, and that is, to me, very exciting. It's not as stagnant as it has been. So all of these properties that have changed hands, as I read, they have intentions on doing things with them. They're just not taking up space. So there might be some new retail places. There might be some new living residential places. There might be lots of things happening. So we're pretty excited about that. Under other business, I'm going to comment on this pilot policies and procedures. If you've had a chance to read it, the Industrial Development Board operates a little bit anonymously compared to the rest of the committees, because we don't operate under the county commission, so they don't really hear or see what we do. So I would encourage you at every opportunity, if you're speaking to anyone in the public, let's pass along some exciting propaganda and some exciting news about some of the changes that are going on. It's not necessarily because of us, but we're certainly trying to help. And I think it is good to have some public energy and excitement that, some new things are happening and we're moving forward. We're not moving backwards, because in business, there's no such thing as staying the same. You're either growing or you're shrinking. That's just all there is. And we've been shrinking in the past, and we want to grow. Maybe not explosively, but we do want to grow. So please take, all of you folks are respected in this community, and people listen to what you say. So please talk delightfully about these things, and Let's see if we can get people excited about it. And it's not such a, where did that come from? We've never heard of that when it does pop up. That being said, is there any other, does anybody with the board have anything else to discuss or bring up? Mr. Benson?
I would say that, see, that we've got those passed out and put through some, so if you want some discussion tonight, Chairman, I'm here to talk.
I think we'd like to give everybody a chance to digest it. Now, we don't read legal as easily as you do, so might have to read it 2 or 3 times before we understand it. But yes, thank you very, very much. And I'll be in contact with you if they have questions that I am not qualified to answer, which are probably most of them. I'll certainly defer to you, and we'll make sure that everybody's questions are answered to their satisfaction. Now we're to the point of public comments. If anybody in the public, Mr. Jewell.
I would say that I have looked this over extensively, and in the form it's in now, I've had conversations with Elliot and Brian and Mayor. I don't see any obstacles in this document that we have before us at this point with the county commission. Timing might be a bit of an issue with elections coming on, and some of those type things, but I think this is very much something that they will be receptive to, and it shouldn't be a lot of questions or kickback on. We do have several major things coming at us with the commission, wage study and personnel policy update and some things. So don't want this to get lost or muddled. So I just want everybody to be aware that it may be like Brian laid out, a few months before it ever gets to the commission. And it's not necessarily intentional, but in the sense it may be intentional so that it's not, doesn't get lost with something else. So just, I feel real good about it. I feel real good about it going forward. And I really appreciate all the work Elliot and particularly Brian and the mayor and everyone has put into it to get it to this form. I think it's concise and clear, but serves what we're trying to accomplish here. And I'm 100% on board, and it will have my full support. And hopefully we can articulate it to the others so that they will feel the same way.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And this is a team effort. The mayor has worked tirelessly. Mr. Benson has worked tirelessly. Mr. Jewell, everybody has worked. Mr. Rochelle, everybody has worked together. And this has been a wonderful collaborative team effort for our community. Just to give you a brief number, I won't keep you any longer, but just to give you a brief number, 7 out of every 10 inquiries that Tennessee Central gets for business relocation here, we get passed on the very first conversation because we don't have a pilot program in place. 7 out of every 10. All we'd have to do is land one of those once in a blue moon, and it would be monumentally beneficial to our community. So every other community around us, and maybe every community in the state, already has a pilot program. We are behind. So all we're trying to do is bring ourselves up to a similar level with our neighbors, and maybe we can attract a few more businesses and a few more jobs, and that economic impact will be exponential. People eat, buy gas, go to the grocery store. Even if they don't live here, they're spending lots of money here. And if we can help our citizens retain good paying jobs, that is always, and that is this board's sole mission, is to help our community grow and grow jobs and grow industry and help our economic health get better, always a little better. That's our job. So with this document, I'm very proud of it, and it has shrunk considerably from the original one that we started from. So it's you don't fall asleep before you get to the end of it. So it's a lot better. It's a lot simpler. Mr. Rochelle and Mr. Benson streamlined it. They brought it up to date with today's legal standards and customary practices. Arguably, these gentlemen are the most knowledgeable people in the state on these things, and they administer these pilot programs for surrounding counties. So they know what's going on, and I completely trust them and am really honored that we have their guidance. Very, very lucky that we have them. All that being said, if anybody else have anything, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Mr.
adjourn.
Graves makes a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Adjourned. Thank you all.